Can I start? I see.
Danny's just getting to a seat, and then I think we're good.
Okay. Okay, Judy, Gary, Frank, can I start? Did Judy hear me? Judy,
I'm ready.
yeah?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Call to order the October 15, 2020 regular board meeting. Please stand for the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Roll call.
Here.
Yep, got it. Miss Bassford,
Here.
Miss Beltran, Mr. Canova, Mr. Daly, Mr. Casper,
Here.
Mr. Pacenti,
Here.
Mr. Smith, Miss Danny.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Can I have a motion to go into executive to discuss contract matters?
So move. Second.
Motion by Mr. Pacenti, second by Mr. Abutrabo. Roll call.
Mr. Abudravo,
Yes.
Miss Bassford,
Yes.
Mr. Canova,
Yes.
Mr. Daly, Mr. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti,
Yes.
Mr. Smith. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Danny.
Yes. Okay, could we have attendance roll call of board members from executive session?
Here.
Here.
Passford. Ms. Beltran. Catova.
Here.
Mr. Daly.
Here.
Mr. Casper.
Here.
Mr. Pacenti.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Danny.
Here. Next order of business is the mission statement. The mission of the Clifton School District in an open and reciprocal community partnership is to provide all students with a quality education to develop the skills necessary to become literate, lifelong learners who are responsible and productive citizens contributing to a democratic society in an ever-changing world. Next order of business is the open public meeting statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right to the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Clifton Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be publicized by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the city clerk's office, Clifton Public Library, Administration Building, Senior Citizen Nutrition Center, on cable TV, in the local press, on the district's website, and mailed to presidents of parent-teacher organizations. This meeting will be tape recorded in accordance with policy 0168. Next order of business is recognition and award presentation of the 2020-2021 Passaic County Teacher of the Year.
Thank you,
Ms.
Madam President.
Dr.
I'm going to step off the dais. I just need a minute.
Okay.
Miss Danny, if I could just chime in, I think Samantha DeRose is coming with her photography equipment to record this as well.
Okay.
She's here. She's coming down the aisle.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education and the Clifton community. It is my honor tonight to recognize one of Clifton's own, Miss Megan Graziano, teacher at Clifton High School, who was recently recognized as the Passaic County Teacher of the Year. So let me take a second to put that in perspective. Of all the schools in Passaic County, every school has a Teacher of the Year. There are 20 schools in Clifton alone. Every school in Passaic County is a Teacher of the Year. All of those Teachers of the Year compete to become the Passaic County Teacher of the Year. There are 21 counties in New Jersey. Megan is one of 21 county Teachers of the Year in all of New Jersey. She was then put into a competition to become the New Jersey State Teacher of the Year. And I'm extremely proud to say that she finished in the top 5 of all the teachers in the state of New Jersey. Ms. Graziano, tonight we have a small token of our appreciation for all that you do for our children and for our community. So if you wouldn't mind joining me up here on this camera, if you can squeeze in to the picture with me, I'm going to present you with this plaque. We're going to take a picture, and I'm going to present you with these beautiful flowers.
Oh, thank you.
And if you would like to say a few words, you can. I'll bring these over to your seat.
Thank you so much. I would just like to take a second to tell you, I am just so proud to be a part of the Clifton School community. I work with some of the most amazing educators that exist. I teach some of the most incredible students in the planet and have some of the most supportive administrators I've ever known. And so again, I just want to say thank you to, of course, the board members for all of your support, to my administrators, my supervisor, my colleagues, especially the other biology teachers in the department. We've always been not just a team, but like a family. And it's been an incredible time that I've been here, and I just treasure the opportunity to work with the students in Clifton every single day. So thank you very much.
Okay, I'll just, right, so thank you very much. Congratulations. Next order of business is going to be adoption of minutes. Can I get a motion to adopt the October 1st regular and executive session meeting minutes?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pacenti, second by Mr. Abudrabo. Any revisions, concerns? See none, roll call.
Mr. Abudrabo,
Yes.
Ms. Casper,
Yes.
Ms. Beltran,
Yes.
Mr. Canova,
Yes.
Mr. Daly,
Yes.
Mr. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Danny.
Yes. There is no communication and announcements. There is a first reading of policy. So we have policy 1620, administrative employment contracts mandatory. 2431, athletic competition mandatory. 2464, gifted and talented students mandatory. 5330.05, seizure action plan mandatory. 6440, cooperative purchasing mandatory. 6470.01, electronic fund transfer claimant certification mandatory. 7440, school district security mandatory. 7450, property inventory mandatory. 7510, use of school facilities mandatory. 8420, emergency and crisis situations mandatory. 8561, procurement procedures for school nutrition programs mandatory. The next order of business, there are no presentation of reports from administration, advisory committees, and special committees. We do have several board committee reports, and Dr. Albertozzi, as I understand, the student representative will speak during the public portion, correct?
That's correct, Ms. Danny. And if I could just interrupt you for 1 second, Madam President. Mr. Horn, for the members of the public that are in the audience, can we turn the volume on that Chromebook so they can hear? You might want to move closer, but within 6 feet or further than 6 feet. Thank you, Ms. Danny.
Okay, should I wait a second or they can hear?
Just 1 second, make sure we have it up and running.
And we'll start with the first one, Passaic County School Boards Association, as soon as Dr. Obertosi give me the okay. Followed by policy, followed by technology, followed by education. Okay, so Vice Chair
Okay, I'll go
Basker.
first.
Okay, oh,
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good evening, everybody. I attended the Passaic County School Board Association meeting on Monday, October 5th. It was called to order by President Judith Basford at 6:30 with the flag salute. Mr. Dan Sinclair, the NJSBA immediate past president, said there has been an increase in board members attending School Board Association sponsored meetings because of virtual meetings. He said they are looking into conducting hybrid meetings for the future. Officer applications will soon be out to fill officer positions. Each officer serves for 2 full years. Nominating petitions will be coming out in November, and the nominating committee will meet in January or February. Nancy Schwartz, NJSBA Board of Directors delegate, explained that the new Board of Directors have been sworn in at the past Board of Directors meeting. Ray Penny, NJSBA Member Engagement Director, talked about the virtual workshop taking place next week, October 20th through 22nd. All sessions will be recorded and are available for a year. There are opportunities to talk with vendors as well as NJSBA representatives during this time. Christopher Jones, NJSBA Legislative Advocate, presented legislative updates. 3 months were added to the fiscal year 2020 due to the pandemic. Fiscal year 2021 started October 1st and will run through June 2021. Reimbursement of extraordinary special education funding increased by $25 million in this year's budget. The school-based youth services program received funding in the budget as well. The subcontracting bill has passed the Senate. Our bargaining units must be notified during negotiations. The coaches' contract bill has not made it past the Senate as of yet. It was going to provide employment protection and a 3-year minimum contract for coaches. Kathy Hallowell, our field service representative, discussed the importance of setting board and district goals as well as getting together for board retreats. She is more than happy to meet with us to help us get that underway. Jonathan Bush from the Bush Law Group presented on public meetings during pandemic. It seems as if a hybrid model for school board meetings will be the new normal. Public comments will be taken virtually, either emailed or through Zoom. Participation can be up to 50 people indoors for a Board of Education meeting. There will be new notice requirements for placing notices on our websites. There is a limit on the number of people who can come in person. The way you interpret it, it could be 50 or 150, depending on how you look at it. Board members do not count in that limit. Public comments can be provided through email before the meeting. Boards may also take text-based comments either on Facebook stream, Twitter, or a phone number that they can send it to. Emails and comments must be read during public comments. A new nominating committee will be put together to interview candidates for the Passaic County School Board Association. Our next meeting is December 7th, 2020. And I was appointed chairperson this year for the Unsung Heroes. Are there any questions?
Any board members have any questions?
So I had one.
Yes.
Can you just clarify that 50, 150 person rule? What was it that they were talking about?
Yes. Depending on how you read it, everyone is saying it's a 50-person limit and we don't count in that count. So there's up to 50 people that can sit in the audience. but there is also a count where you can have 150 in the audience. Miss Bassford, do you know more on that one?
No, I
And th-
don't know. Joe, it depends on the capacity of your room, the size of your room, your ventilation system, whether you can have the 150 or 50. Right now it's 50, but we don't count. Administration doesn't count. It's just the people that come out of the audience count. Like the people that we have now sitting in front of us. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. We can have 45 more members in the audience. They have to socially distance, but that's one of the things. And they say that if you want more clarification, you have to give them the size of your room, and it's a percentage of how many people you actually have in this room. I think it's 850 in this room. Yeah, so we could actually have more than 50.
Ms. Gutierrez, could you check into that and get back to the board on that? Because I could have sworn at the governor's hearing today that he said any municipality, council people, whatever, they are counted in the count of the room. I'm positive he said that at his hearing today. Now, maybe
I know, Jim, he said that, but this is the law that came out 2 weeks ago.
That's why I'm just trying to get a clarification here so that we have the right stuff here.
Yeah, Ms. Gutierrez, you could do that and check into, the legal or, just for clarity, because we just have two opinions at the moment. Not saying I don't know whose is right. I have no idea.
Sorry, I was muted. I apologize. Yes, we'll look into that to clarify. And in the process, I'll also find out from the business administrator about the capacity for this room. But yeah, we'll get you some clarification on that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Congratulations, Mr. Casper. Madam Vice Chair Bassford for policy.
Yes, the policy committee met at 6:08 on October 13th, 2020. Attendees were myself, board members Joe Canova, Frank Casper, and Jim Smith. From our administration, Dr. Danny Robotuzzi, Mark Tejan, Luis Ross, and also present was the intern Rachel Harrington. The agenda, it was very, very full. It included discussions of the following Strauss-Ismay mandated policies that committee recommends for the board to adopt. Number 1, 1620 administrative employment contracts. Number 2, 553005 seizure action plan. Number 3, 6440 cooperative purchasing. Number 4, 6470.01 electronic funds transfer and claimant certification. Number 5, 7440 school district security. Number 6, 7450 property inventory. Number 7, 8420 emergency and crisis situation. The committee also discussed the following policy and recommends the adoption of said policy with changes and choices indicated in the markup copies provided to the full board. Number 1, 2431 athletic competition. Number 2, 7510 school use of school facilities. Number 3, 8561 procurement procedures for school nutrition programs. 2 further policies were reviewed and discussed by the committee, which offer the following recommendation. Number 1, 2551 adult high school. The committee will send this proposal to the education committee for further discussion. Number 2, 2464 gifted and talented students. The committee recommends changing the Strauss-Ismay designated language of gifted and talented to talented and gifted. Wherever it appears in the proposed policy, thus keeping in line with the nomenclature and used in our district literature. In addition to the policy discussed, Chairperson Bassford and myself provided the committee with literature and suggestions to commence the process of drafting a new policy addressing the onboarding of new board members, commissioners. Strauss-Ismay will be consulted to inquire if a model policy exists to aid the committee in drafting the new policy to present to the board. The goal is to have the new policy approved by the end of the calendar year. The meeting adjourned at 7:13 p.m. and Mr. Ross respectfully submitted the minutes. Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Do any of the board members have any questions? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Canova, Technology.
The Technology Committee board meeting began at 5 p.m. Attendees were myself, Vice President Ms. Judy Basford, board members Fahim Abrajabo and Frank Casper, administrators Dr. Danny Robertozzi, Mark Tejan, Janina Kusalevich, Heather Rotolo, Eric Mountain, and guests were Rachel Harrington. Item 1, administration approved provided a Chromebook update. 399 Chromebooks have shipped and hundreds more are in configuration being prepared for shipment. The remainder of our May order has been officially allocated to Clifton and is queued for configurations as well. Action informational. Number 2, administration provided a security camera update. Installation for the admin building and transportation bus garage security camera system is complete and tied into the CHS CCMS Woodrow Wilson Middle School system. Action informational. 3, administration provided a phone system update. The new IP phone system is fully operational. All existing phones have been upgraded and all classrooms have the phones as well. All teachers now will have a unique voicemail account. Tests have been successfully run to tie the phone system to the CHS security system. Equipment needed to complete this in every building has been ordered and installation will commence upon arrival. Action information. Item 4, commissioners inquired about the potential capability for text alerts to keep parents updated with paper.net lunch balance activity. Administration will investigate. Action informational. The meeting transition to Education Committee meeting at 5:30 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Eric Mott.
Thank you, Mr. Canova. Do the commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, Education Committee, Mr. Casper.
It's been quite a busy month, I tell you that much. The Education Committee was held in conjunction with the Technology Committee meeting. The meeting began at 5:30 p.m. Attendees, myself as chairperson, board vice president Judith Basford, board members Joe Canova and Fahim Abadrawo. Administrators included Dr. Danny Robertozzi, Mr. Mark Tejan, Mrs. Janina Kusalevich, Ms. Heather Rotolo, Mr. Eric Mountain, and a guest, Ms. Rachel Harrington. Number 1, in-person reopening update. Dr. Robertozzi provided brief update about the in-person reopening of schools. He and both assistant superintendents visited every school this week to oversee the start of in-person learning. The overwhelming response was positive. Teachers, administrators, support staff, and all district personnel implemented all social distancing protocols and did an outstanding job. Staff is complimented on their hard work and efforts as they manage in-person and remote strands. Families continue to be engaged to ensure that the health screening is completed daily. Action informational. Number 2, Berkeley College collaboration. Dr. Robertozzi shared a new collaboration with Berkeley College. The district has an existing dual enrollment agreement with Berkeley for students. The new corporate educational partnership provides staff and family members with a 30% discount reduction at no cost to the district. Additional opportunities to use facilities and provide professional support are also included. A resolution to enter this corporate partnership is included on the 10/15/2020 Board of Ed agenda. Number 3, climate grant stipends update. Mrs. Kusalevich provided an update on the district climate grant to support PBSIS. On this agenda, universal team members are listed for hourly stipends for after-school meetings and parent-student involvement activities. The grant provided for district administrators to receive stipends for after-hours and evening time commitments. These administrative stipends will appear on a future Board of Ed agenda. A resolution for teacher hourly stipends is included on the 10/15/2020 Board of Ed agenda. Additional item, securing our Children's Future Bond Act grant. Commissioner Abadrabo raised the topic of this grant opportunity. Ms. Kusalevich shared that the business administrator, Mr. Michael Lucy, is working on the applications for possible funds for school security and water filtration. The CTE component of this grant does not apply to the district. Action informational. The meeting adjourned at 5:59 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Mrs. Janina Kusalevich.
Thank you, Mr. Casper. Do any of the commissioners have any questions? Okay, seeing the next order of business is public recognition. This portion of the meeting is open to citizens of Clifton for the purpose of addressing any subject matter pertinent to and or directly related to the operation of the Clifton Public School District. Residents are requested to sign the register provided for this purpose and to state their names, addresses, and subject matter. If you are virtually, you will log in and put your name into the chat and your address, unless you're a student. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered and a response will be forthcoming if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Specifically, comments regarding students and employees of the board are discouraged and will not be responded to by the board. Students and employees have specific legal rights afforded by the laws of New Jersey. The board bears no responsibility, nor will it be liable for any comments made by members of the public. Members of the public should consider their comments in light of the legal rights of those affected or identified in their comments, and be aware that they are legally responsible and liable for their comments. Do we have the student representative right now so that he can speak first?
Miss Danny, I do not see him online.
Okay, when he does come in, if you can tell me, so we'll go with the live public portion.
Absolutely. I'm told there's several in person and we have 2 online. So what would you like to start with?
We'll start with the in-person. Just make sure that they sign their name and address. Thank you. Just if you can unmute for him so that the public can hear. Once he finishes signing in, if someone could unmute for him because he's muted. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Mark Burnsiak, 20 Holly Street. Thank you, Dr. Robertozzi. Thank you.
I'm sorry, if you want to pull that up a little bit.
Tonight, I want to speak in reference to an executive order signed Monday allowing organized sports considered medium and high risk to the state to resume contact practices and games indoors with restrictions. Countless times we've heard over the past few weeks how guidelines are constantly changing and from the state. So the science continues to say one thing and another. And all of a sudden, in this article by NJ.com recently, this week, after consulting stakeholders and medical experts, we have concluded that with proper public health and safety protocols in place, indoor sports may now resume in a way that protects players, coaches, and staff. So this means indoor games like basketball, kickball, whatever they do indoors, any kind of indoor sports. And what I don't hear is trying to get these school kids in for 5 days a week. On top of that, what I don't hear is recommendations to try to make it as normal as possible for the students. Right now, it's a requirement for the students with barriers in front of them, including 6 feet apart, for them to continuously wear their mask throughout the classes. There are several of us here who do not have a mask over here, yet the risks have been mitigated. And as a result of that, We are safer as a result of that. So I'm requesting that the board at some point make recommendations that give the students choices to try to make it as normal as humanly possible in the classroom. The rates have drastically dropped, and I continuously hear the science says this, the science says that. Where's the science? What changed in the science? And then you find out second to last paragraph in this article from NJ.com that you find out the reason that they now allow indoor sports is because enough parents complain to the state to say that is devastating for their kids. Their kids want to play indoor sports. Their kids want to play sports, period. They want to move on. And they know what the survival rates are. CDC, September 23rd, 2020. Those who unfortunately get infected with coronavirus, those ages 0 to 19 have a 99.997% chance of survival. Those aged 20 to 49 have a 99.98% chance of survival. Those aged 50 to 69 have a 99.5% chance of survival. God forbid they catch this. So, and the highest risk group are 70 plus, 94.6. New York Times, just this week, the American public has made an incredible adjustment, embracing mask wearing and social distancing and putting up with unprecedented months-long lockdowns, which has made a difference that has saved lives. So there's a reduction. There's been a great reduction. There are new treatments that further denting the virus's impact, including antiviral drugs and steroids like dexamethasone. And we've been told by the feds that vaccines and antibodies are far likely to be more effective as a result. So I'm asking the board over here to try to make in-person schooling an option for the parents to get their kids back in school because they know what's best for their kids. And for those that are high risk, they have chosen that. And I'm thankful for everybody like Missy Nina, like Dr. Robertozzi, and all of you involved in doing that, in helping to give families that option. But why stop there? We shouldn't stop there. It should be a continuous improvement over here. And I know it's hard because you're always saying the guidelines from the state, they change constantly. Okay, but you could also tell them that this isn't working out. This isn't working out for our district. There are parents here who want their kids to be in school full-time as much as human possible if they have extracurricular activities. And all of a sudden this week, Governor Murphy signed an executive order now allowing high-risk indoor sports with measure. Every time you're running to the rim or every time you take a shot, you're screaming in your opponent's face. Trying to get them to miss a shot.
Okay,
Is that safe?
the time has been
Maybe it
called.
Is that what the science says now?
Time. I'm sorry, the
It's
time,
not. So
there's 5
again, I'm
minutes.
requesting to this board to try to make it as normal as humanly possible for the kids. Thank you very much for speaking, and God bless America. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Dr. Robertozzi, the next person that comes up, if you could, you only see their chest. So if you could pull the, video up so you see their face.
President Danny, can I just get a clarification? He said something that several of us here are not wearing masks. Did I hear that correctly?
We could do that in board member account. We just, because
Good
it's
evening.
really.
My name is Justin Swisher. I am a 6th grade social studies teacher at Christopher Columbus Middle School. I have held that position for the last 10 years. I began in September 2009. I'm also a product of Clifton Public Schools, a 2004 graduate. I've loved every minute of my experience in the Clifton community, and I'm always grateful for it. I've spent a long time in Columbus seeing the wonderful things that the staff does, that the teachers do, and that the kids are capable of. I've seen the fabric of our community get stronger and stronger as we face challenges day in, day out. I was humbled and honored just 1 week ago when Dr. Robertosi and I had a conversation, and I was informed that I would be appointed or recommended for appointment as the next vice principal of CCMS. I'm here tonight to express my gratitude to you, Dr. Robertosi, for the opportunity, and to express my gratitude to the entire Board of Education for this opportunity to make a difference in our community. I know this is a challenging time for all of us, but I hope everyone knows that the challenges are what build our character. There's a saying, I'm a cross-country coach, and there's a saying in running that first mile is a liar. That if you feel in that first mile that you want to quit, you've got to keep on going. And I know for everyone sitting here tonight, since March 2020, this has been one of the longest first miles anyone's had to experience. But all of us as a community have been working hard to continue to lift one another up and to keep on going. And on a most human level, I know that it's very challenging when it seems that no matter what choice is made, we're dealing with people telling us that we're wrong. But I hope we can all keep ourselves focused on the fact that we're building ourselves as a community, we're staying together as a community, and we're working to move forward as a community. Anything that's worth it is worth the effort that we have to put into it. And everyone in CCMS has been putting 110% effort since day one of my career there, since my time as a student there, and especially through this whole crisis, as we've been trying to work through it and navigate what is incredibly unknown experience for all of us. In any event, what I'm here to tell you is I'm incredibly grateful. I will be giving it all of my effort, and I look forward to a great future for our community, for our school, and for Clifton. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Kutch. I am the media specialist over at Woodrow Wilson. To start, I want to thank the board and the administration for all the helpful clarity that has been provided during this reopening process, especially regarding procedures and protocols getting the kids in the school this past couple weeks. Much of it has been very helpful and reassuring. I'm hoping we can continue providing clarification and transparency as we continue throughout the school year. Currently, I am a little concerned about the vagueness of past responses regarding what will happen when a teacher is inevitably required to quarantine after travel. I understand in some scenarios that sick days may need to be used for self-quarantine, but I'm a little worried about the lack of clarity regarding necessary travels. I know it's been mentioned that it would be handled on a case-by-case basis, but I'm hoping that you will be providing further guidance. I know some may be concerned about losing their sick days, and this can add unnecessary stress to situations that might already be very stressful, like family emergencies or such. Can we be assured that these situations will be handled with empathy and respect? Thank you for time and consideration, and I hope to hear about this kind of soon.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Miss Langner. I am an 8th grade science teacher at Christopher Columbus Middle School. I'm here to ask a few questions, but also express my thanks for a number of different things. I want to start by thanking the administration at Christopher Columbus Middle School. Mrs. Gaba and Mr. Jager and Dr. Robertosi have all been in my classroom since we returned to school. And I really appreciate that show of support. And I also appreciate the modeling of wearing masks in the building. I think it's important for each and every one of us to model that behavior for our faculty and staff every time we step foot into a school building. I wanted to also thank Mr. Frankel, who is the science supervisor, and I'm sure he worked closely with Janina in getting us resources that would allow us to teach both in person and remote very well. So they purchased a system that allows students to solve mysteries, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. One of the things I've noticed, though, is that we do ask the students to model things in science. After all, hands-on learning is fantastic. And I found that my remote learners are able to do more modeling at home because they have the supplies that they need to do it. The in-person learning is restricted by what we're allowed to share. I was also concerned, but Mr. Canova, I heard you mentioned our Chromebooks are close, but one of the concerns that I have is that in person, without the adequate technology, I'm having a lot harder time evaluating and assessing student progress. I don't want to put anyone at more risk than necessary by passing out and collecting materials, and I really think the technology is an important piece. It was a little hard to hear you through the Chromebook, so I'm hoping that we'll get some more definitive answers on when that technology is going to be available to us. I also wanted to speak a moment on social emotional health of our staff. At the last meeting, I was very concerned to hear a parent expressing concern over the mental well-being of our teachers. And I wanted to thank Jessica Tremble, who's in charge of our counseling department, because she has been sending out weekly self-care tips to our staff. But I also want to thank Sue Feliciano, who has worked to get us mindfulschools.org training. It was something I started over the summer, but the district has supported that and allowed me to continue my training in that area. And I'm hoping that what my colleague, Ms. Kutch, mentioned from the other school there, that teachers are treated with that empathy and compassion is a very real thing, because we're all learning so many new things that it's just as overwhelming for us as it is for the kids. And I'm sure as you're experiencing here, as you're trying to run a hybrid and remote meeting, that it comes with challenges. And I am concerned for my staff member colleagues that are trying to teach in person to a classroom of students and remotely simultaneously. I understand that in some scenarios that may be required because that's what our parents are asking for, but I do feel like it puts us empaths in a position where we can't meet anyone's needs well. And so I hope that that's something that you're considering, and I really appreciate everything Lori Lalama has done to support the Clifton Education Association. And I'm curious to know where we stand on her recommendation of getting an industrial hygienist to take a look at our HVAC systems. It was something that I heard many board members support at the last meeting. Some even said that, yes, we should reopen if we do that. And I have not heard whether or not that has taken place yet. So I'd really be curious to know where that stands. And I also wanted to thank you because last meeting, someone pushed for flu vaccines to be offered at Clifton High School. I remember it was one of the board members, but I don't remember who. I wanted to thank you. I came here, made it easy, got my flu vaccine, and I'm wondering if we would consider working with the health department to offer the same kind of drive-up COVID-19 testing to staff, because many places that are requiring essential frontline workers to come to work are providing regular testing. And you did such a wonderful job with that. I was in and out in 5 minutes that I don't see why we can't try and work with a health department to implement something like that. And I think that's all I have for tonight. And I really want to thank you for your time and your consideration on these issues. Have a good night.
Thank you. Do we have any more in person? Mr. Mountain, if we could.
Yes, we have a few in the online waiting room.
Okay.
First up is Lori Lalama. Lori, if you can hear us, you're the first up to speak.
And whoever else is going to speak, if you could in the chat, put your name. If you're not a student, put your name and your address. If you're not a student.
After Lori will be Max Rubin and then Emma.
Okay. So if you're not a student, please put your name and address in the chat. Thank you.
Looks like Lori's having an issue, so let's go to Max first and then we'll get Lori.
Max, you may speak. Take the
All
mute.
right, good evening, everyone. Okay,
Take
thank
the
you. And I'm a student, so I won't
Yes.
put my address in the chat.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's good to be, okay. It's good to be back at school. So far, I mean, I'm a cohort B, so I went on Tuesday and I'm gonna go again tomorrow. And everything's been running pretty smoothly. The teachers are starting to get used to how to educate kids online and in person at the same time. And it's been working out okay. The one thing that did kind of alarm me is that apparently some students either aren't wearing their mask properly, don't know how to wear their mask properly, or are just choosing not to. And we're all high schoolers, so we definitely know how to wear a mask. That can't be the issue. So it's just a little upsetting to hear that some of my peers aren't taking their responsibility and the initiative to just put on a mask. So I'm in the CAST program, and on the morning announcements, we made a little video on how to put on a mask, which I still find it's ridiculous. We have to do that in the first place. We put a warning on how to stay safe. I just hope that if students are not wearing their masks and aren't following the right rules, there should be some severe repercussion, or they should just be sent to in person or be sent to remote, because that is ridiculous. And I'm really upset that I had to hear that. On a more positive note, the CHS morning show has been running smoothly. We're continuing to add new things every day. Also, my drama teacher, Miss Poggi, wanted me to read this email that she sent me about a Chipotle fundraiser that's going to happen next week. So the Clifton High School Drama Program will be hosting a Chipotle fundraiser at the Route 3 Clifton location coming up next Wednesday, October 21st from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Chipotle will donate 1/3 of your check back to the drama program. So please be sure to either show your flyer or mention the fundraiser if ordering with the cashier at a register. And if you want to order online, you can use the promo code, which is T76PAJR, all caps. The flyer and code can be found on the CHS Drama Instagram page at Clifton High School _drama, or you can email Ms. Poggi at lpoggi@cliftonschools.net with any questions. And hopefully you'll support the drama program. We do actually have some plans coming up. As of now, we are still planning on doing a musical next year. Hopefully I'll be a part of that. So yeah, we still have a lot of plans this year, and hopefully you guys can go out to Chipotle or order online and support the drama program. Other than that, I'm also the president of the Clifton Student Union, and we've been coming up with a lot of ideas on how to make AP exam books and SAT exam books readily available for students. We have a couple ideas. We're going to hopefully have a book drive, an in-person book drive where people can come to the school and drop off their old test prep books. And that could be 1 to 2 weeks. And then people can come at the school anytime and pick them up. Hopefully we'll do that at either the end of this month or the beginning of next month. I need to get in touch with Mr. Waka, the new Central Wing VP. We also were thinking about doing a virtual, an online list that we could post on the website, just a well-formatted list of a bunch of YouTube channels, various test prep websites, College Board, Khan Academy, and just create a list of all those websites and put it up on the school website. So that's another thing we're working on. Another thing is, if you haven't heard yet, for students watching this and for parents, there is an update with the gym policy. I know my my colleague Sam at the last Board of Ed meeting mentioned that kids felt uncomfortable showing their face and showing their body as they work out on camera. So if you feel uncomfortable with working out during gym class on camera, if you're 18, you can do it yourself. But if you're younger than 18, which most high schoolers are, you can have your parent email your gym teacher and inform them that my child feels uncomfortable exercising in front of the camera. I want a recommendation for him to either tilt the camera away from him or her as he or her exercises, or just point it towards the ceiling, anything. And you can do that now. The other thing, the last thing, is sports have been pretty good so far. Our soccer team and our football team are killing it this year, and we have our homecoming game tomorrow. I think the homecoming ceremony is being pushed to sometime next week, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. Unfortunately, the stadium is only open for parents of band kids, cheerleaders, and football players, but the game is getting live streamed, I believe, by Mr. Mecca, so you can always tune in online. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Before Ms. Lalama, before you speak, if you are here and you are going to be speaking in the chat, if you can put your name and your address, and so when I call, your name and address is already in there. Thank you very much in the chat. Ms. Lalama, and then we will have we will speak to Ms. Howard.
All right. Is that okay, Miss Danny?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, good evening to everyone. I hope everybody is doing fine. As the president of this association, this has been the most difficult job that I have faced since the beginning of the pandemic. My job is literally to protect the four corners of the contract. However, I've always believed it to be much more than that. Public education is very important, and we're going through a lot of battles right now. According to the AFL-CIO, a strong public education system is essential to the individual and collective well-being of our country and its people and its development of an informed and engaged citizenry without which no democracy can exist and flourish. This is what Clifton Public Schools does. We are a very strong community, and education is so important. However, this pandemic has taken a toll on everyone, including from school 6, the board, I would imagine, the teachers, the principals, vice principals. So we need to be united, because being the president, I hear things from the community, I hear things from staff, and it's beginning to make us very divided. And we can't do that. We are a community of educators. We are a community that cares. And there's a great quote by Jean-Francois Cope. I invite everyone to choose forgiveness rather than division, teamwork over personal ambition. And this is what needs to change. I have been involved in so many meetings to make sure the plan the district wrote would work, despite such a horrible situation we're all going through. Many of you have gone through this plan must be fluid due to COVID-19. There's no more normalcy. It's different. I would like to mention the fact that the HVAC systems is still a major problem. The classroom windows should be open. There needs to be fresh air. So when you're coming in, so no one is breathing the stale, possibly affected air. So I would make sure that everybody is wearing layers. When kids come to school that are in for AB, please wear some other layers so you're not, chilly in class, because we need to have fresh air into the building. Another issue is the fact that students are entering the schools without parents responding to the COVID questionnaire. This is a health and safety issue towards other students and staff, and I would feel horrible if another student or staff member brought the virus home and something happens. So that needs to be clarified, and to make sure that all the parents are filling that out and the kids are checked before they enter the school. Now, next you'll hear from Andrea about the Pride and Fast, what we're doing in Clifton, and I won't say anything. All right. Other good news, the NJEA has given me a consultant to work with so we can give different diversity groups voices in our district. One's going to be the Latino groups, and I've been lucky enough to work with Fahim for our Arabic paras and teachers. I began working with him to start this. We are working on a list so I can contact other paras and teachers so they can have a voice. Since COVID, it has been difficult to work on this of late, but I look forward to continue working on this to make sure that all of our different diversity groups will have a voice. The NJEA does have a member of color group, so I can always get contact with them to put the different groups in there. There's also a LGBTQ plus group, so I'd be glad to help out with that. Diversity is important. Cultural sensitivity and compassion are paramount. If Clifton One is going to continue, we must look out for the icebergs. We must be united. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lalama. Ms. Howard? And again, if you're just on here and you're going to be speaking, Dustin, I didn't see the name and address. Thank you. Ms. Howard?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to say, I know that the board, along with Dr. Robertozzi, worked long and hard and debated long and hard if school was going to open, school wasn't going to open, and what that would look like. I know that it got pushed back, but I can say as a parent, Saturday night or Sunday night was almost like Christmas Eve in my house. My children were so excited to go back to school. All of my kids went in because my oldest, who's at Woodrow, was a hybrid A. So all of my kids went in to school on Monday. I raced back home after school because I was able to leave, and they were all smiles when they came back. I have been in contact with both Mr. Healy and my daughter's team at Woodrow. I felt like the reopening was really well. She had a really good time. She enjoyed seeing all of her teachers. The bus came. It came almost on time. We didn't have to wait. She got dropped off on the bus. There's a new drop-off line that was started at School 15. My husband went through it. He said that it went off without a hitch. So I just really want to say thank you, and thank you to the administration. And I feel like that the opening went really well. I can only speak from Woodrow Wilson and from School 15, but it was a really happy day in our house. And all of my kids were back in school today, and my oldest can't wait to go back to school on Monday. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your work, your time, your dedication to the superintendent and the board and all the staff that is here in Clifton, that it was a very positive experience for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Howard. Dustin, you are next in the queue to speak. I didn't see your name and address in the chat. Are you a student?
No, I'm not a student. My son's a student at School 5,
Okay.
20 Street, Clifton, New Jersey.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Dr. Robertozzi to speak on the last caller. Pretty much, she said it better than I could. I know I called in a few weeks ago and described how horrible the day was for my son's at home in school, or at home remote school, excuse me. And him going to school, complete game changer. His attitude's different. It's night and day. I'm sure you guys know it and you've heard it, so I don't want to waste much time on that, but thank you. The main point is to thank you. Whoever voted yes, I know some people voted no, and that's your prerogative, but whoever on this board voted yes, and whoever pushed to do in school, you have not only helped me personally, my wife, my son, you have helped everyone in my household live a happier life, and it's so much, just so much thankfulness and so much gratitude for making that happen. Going forward, I like to see longer school days and getting more back to normal, trunk or treats, all this stuff. I understand it's very difficult with everything going on. As Mark stated earlier, he had a lot of good statistics on the positivity of where this is going. I really appreciate to hear Max talk, the kid from the high school. That was super important, probably the best speaker of the night. Just all good things, and we need to just keep pushing forward and not just accepting that this is it. Like, this is a great start. It's an amazing start, and I'm very thankful. You need to make it better. Maybe go back to school Wednesdays. Whatever we got to do. I'm a lifelong Cliftonite, and I had a lot of trepidation sending my son to public school. I didn't go to public school till I was in high school, and sending my son to a public school starting in kindergarten, I was scared. And You have amazing teachers, and I've not said their names because I don't know how this whole thing, you say all these big words in the beginning, but Mrs. Mouth and Mrs. Leishman and Mrs. Harris, they really were an impact on my son's life. Like, you have no idea. I can't explain to you what School 5 and those teachers have done for my son. I can never repay those teachers, and they're amazing people. And I just want to thank everyone on the board who pushed to go back to school. And I hope that it only gets better from here. And thank you very much. I appreciate your time and listening to me babble.
Thank you. Ms. O'Rourke. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name.
That's okay, Auroch.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, don't worry. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrea Auroch. I am part of the CEA. I am the Pride and Fast chairperson. I just wanted to let everyone know Pride and Fast, our programs, we have a combined total of almost $70,000. To be exact, it's $67,950 that we can spend on community workshops and virtual events to engage with our families in the Clifton community. I just wanted to let everybody know that next week on Wednesday, we are co-hosting with the Clifton High School Key Club with a workshop titled The Cycle of Prejudice. Let me just go over what this workshop will be. It's on my other computer. This model focuses on addressing 7 forms of prejudice and implicit bias in order to improve academic achievement and create an educational equality for all students. Participants will explore personal identities and the intersection of marginalized identities, power, privilege, and the achievement gap. This workshop helps individuals improve their relationships and their services for the LGBTQ community and other minority groups in Clifton. It concludes with strategies on how to create a safe, inclusive spaces for the LGBTQ community and minorities, therefore making spaces safer for all individuals. We put out the flyer on Clifton School's social media. There's a link to join. This is a free event for every student and every community person in Clifton that we will be sponsoring with the money that we had for our Pride and Fast. The next events we will be doing, it's going to be in the last week of October. School 12 is hosting a virtual craft night for pre-K to 5th grade, as well as School 17 is hosting a virtual decorating pumpkin contest. Once again, we want to do a lot of community involvement and opportunities that open up. With the $7,000, we can do amazing things all together for Clifton. So we just wanted to let you guys know the Clifton Education Association is here for you guys, and we're ready to go for 2020 to 2021. Have a great night.
Thank you, you too. So that concludes the virtual. I know there aren't any more virtual speakers.
Seeing no others, I move to close the public portion.
Motion by Mr. Daly,
Second.
second by Mr. Abudrabo. Next order of business is education and administration. Can I have a motion for EA1 through EA5?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Casper, second by Mr. Pacenti. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Beltram.
I was looking at the attendance report, and we're short roughly 937 students from last February to today's attendance, and I was wondering if there's been any programs or anything like to reach out to those students who have dropped off the rolls to see if they've simply missed the registration or don't understand, or in homes that don't have access to all the internet or things, or just simply didn't know that school started. Don't know if Dr. Robotosi has
Yes,
any idea
Ms. Beltran,
where those kids are.
today is October 15th, which is the day we do the official count of how many students we have in the Clifton Public Schools. It's the day that every school district in the state does our count. So that number you're looking at, I can't verify that it is completely accurate. However, what I can do is tell you after today exactly how many students we have on roll today and how many we had exactly 1 year ago. From there, I could determine exactly how many were down. 900 seems like a lot. So we didn't have 900 students drop out. We didn't have 900 students leave. In fact, usually we go up, we have more registrations. So give me some time to get you a better answer on that. I can, because that's something I want to look at the data more closely and give you a real solid answer on why that discrepancy looks like it's there.
Okay, yeah, because looking like about 567 is off from the high school alone. So that seems like an entire grade is possibly missing in action somewhere along the way. So the other ones are more, anecdotal, about 30s or so, but that one is a large number that's down. Yeah,
Thank you, Ms.
typo
Beltran.
or something like that. Yeah.
Any other
Because
questions?
the reason why the 1015 count is so important is because that's the number that drives our state aid. So that's why that's extremely important. So it's something I'll absolutely make sure we look into and get back to the entire board.
Dr. Albertosi, I don't know if there's, because I know like with our district, if students lost connectivity or something, they were, I don't know how that attendance factors into that, but I know that, they were marked as if they had issues with connectivity. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But thank you.
I'll definitely look into it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, if I might follow up on that, and maybe Dr. Robertosi can help us at the next board meeting. I know our student figures are rarely in the 10,007, 10,009 in that range. So this is a drop. Obviously with the virtual versus an attendance, because you're going to give us registrations, which is important, and that could be difference from actual attendance. And I know it's probably difficult for every teacher to take attendance on a virtual basis. So, I think that's probably, I'm only speculating, probably one of the reasons why the numbers are different. But I think that's important that when you get your staff to verify what our actual registration is, that would help us better, I guess, everybody better understand what's going on here. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other? See none, roll call?
Mr. Abudrabo.
Yes.
Ms. Bassford.
Yes to the group, but I abstain on number 1. I'm conflicted.
Ms. Beltran.
Yes.
Mr. Canova.
Yes.
Mr.
Stay on
Daly.
EA1.
Got it. Mr. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Danny.
Yes. Next order of business, personnel. Could I have a motion for P1 through P21?
Move to
So
approve.
move.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by? Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Abudrabo, sorry. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call?
Mr. Abudrabo.
Yes.
Ms. Bassford.
Yes, abstain on number 2, name only, please.
Ms. Beltran.
Yes.
Mr. Canova.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Mr. Casper.
I'm voting yes and abstaining on P19, my name only.
Mr. Pacenti.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Danny.
Yes. Next order of business is finance and facilities. Can I have a motion for F1?
Madam Chair, hold on. It was number 19, not 22.
Gotcha.
My abstain. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
That's okay. 19. Motion for F1 through F5.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Casper, second by Mr. Abudrabo. Questions? Seeing none, roll call?
Sorry.
Actually, I do have a question. Is it possible to get a breakdown of all the additional costs due to COVID? Like I know we have dividers, we have straps that showed for the desks. I know the thermostat, the thermometers that we're using now. Is there a way to get a breakout of just COVID additional costs, Chromebooks?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Usi on that.
We actually been doing that kind of internally. I can share that with the board.
Okay.
Actually, if I may, is it possible to add to that what we spent on COVID and what we have saved because of COVID in terms of what our normal expenditure would be so we can see the difference?
I could work on that.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah,
What we normally would spend, but we're not spending. Does that make sense?
Okay.
On number one, this is a very generous donation from our boys soccer booster club. I just love to see a breakdown of what the money's being used for, to what improvements at the field. So if I could just get a breakdown of that, but I'd like to thank the boys soccer booster club for this very nice donation to enhance our boys soccer Fernando Rossi soccer field. But I just like a breakdown of what the improvements are. Thank you.
Ms. Danny, if I may address that?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, that the total donation is for the purchase of a sign.
Oh.
The whole cost is going towards a sign, which will be recognizing all of the past championships for both the boys and girls soccer teams. And it's going to be really nice. I saw a draft. As soon as it's finalized, before it's actually put out there, I'll definitely share that with the board.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Daly?
Yeah, just to reinforce that there is a monument or plaque in, I believe it's the northwest corner of the field, when the field was dedicated to Mr. Rossi. So this is, I take it, in addition to enumerate other accomplishments that have happened during the tenure of our soccer team.
Thank you.
Mr. Daly.
Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Mr. Abudrabo.
Yeah.
Ms. Bassford.
Yes.
Ms. Beltran. Mr. Canova.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
Mr. Casper.
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Danny.
Yes. Next order of business is board member comments. Mr. Daly, are you next or is it Mr. Casper?
I was first last time.
Okay, Mr. Casper, that's what I thought. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to keep this brief. I'd like to thank the retirees, as I always do, for your dedication to our district. I would also like to thank the boys soccer booster club as well for your gracious donation to the field. I'm excited to see it when it does come out. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Graziano again, our own Passaic County Teacher of the Year. This past year has been an accomplishment for Clifton. We first had our board member of the year. Now we have our Passaic County Teacher of the Years. So we're really making it on the map in New Jersey finally. I'd like to thank all of our speakers that came out tonight. I'm happy to hear that everything is running smoothly. And I know that the safety of everyone is paramount to our administration, so I'm happy to hear that everything is going nicely. And I'd also like to thank the CEA for your hard work in putting together the Pride and Fast events that are coming up soon. And since it is Halloween coming up soon, I hope everyone is safe during this Halloween season. And have fun, but also stay safe while trick-or-treating if there is any. All right, have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Casper. Mr. Pacenti?
Thank you. I just want to congratulate Ms. Graziano also for being a Passaic County Teacher of the Year with the hard work, dedication, and especially going virtual and all this hybrid stuff. I know it's difficult, and I applaud you for your outstanding accomplishment. Want to thank Dr. Robertosi again, as I always do, for steering the district to bring back the kids. I think that this is the proper thing to do. I still believe that we should bring them back a little more. Normalcy is good for students and children. They really need it, and I've got a lot of calls thanking us, thanking this board for their support to get these kids back to school. And the last thing I have, since our meeting is not going to be till I believe the 12th of November next, we're having a change of command ceremony for the chief of police. Clifton, the city of Clifton named the new chief a while ago, Thomas Rinaldi, to the detective. He was a detective captain who just became chief. Now that things have been lifted for outside, it'll be outside of City Hall, in the front of the steps on Friday, November 6th at 3 o'clock. And we'll have light refreshments to follow afterwards. So I hope people can make it. And again, social distancing, masks will be implemented for that day. So I want to thank everybody again, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Pacenti. Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I'm gonna be real brief tonight. I'd like to first just personally thank all the speakers that came out tonight. Max, I so much enjoy hearing you speak and giving us detailed information. I apologize if you can't hear me too well, so I'm going to be very short. I thank all the people of the public and my fellow board colleagues that reached out to me after my recent surgery, healing well and on my way to recovery. So thank you all. I just have a few questions. Dr. Robertosi, I thought we were going to have some type of board, I don't know what it's called, but where we get a list of all the events that are happening in the district. Had Max not come to us about this Chipotle fundraiser, we may not have known about it. I'd love to be able to see where we are on that process of making sure that we get notified of all these things. Because we very much do want to support our kids. I do have a concern about something that was stated at the beginning of the meeting. The first speaker stated that there are numerous of us here in the audience not wearing masks. I thought it was our board policy and or regulations that all visitors into our building must be wearing masks. So I don't know why people are allowed in the building if they're not wearing a mask. I think this needs to be looked into and tightened up a bit. Max brought it up in school that we have students that are not wearing masks. That's got to be addressed right away. And people coming into our board meetings, that is a board policy and a board function, and it has to be adhered to, and whatever administration has to do to make sure that this is being followed, I think that has to take place.
Mr. Smith, if I may, that comment, I believe, was directed towards the people on the stage here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't directed towards any visitors to our building.
I got you. I'm sorry. I not being there, I didn't see it that way. Thank you for that clarification. Yeah, I think that was the last thing I had. But I again, I'm a little concerned, and Max being in the building and seeing students every day. If he has a concern about kids not wearing masks, to me there is a concern, and I know, Dr. Robertosi, that you'll be on top of that and looking into that. So thank you, everyone.
Smith. Mr. Abudrabo?
Thank you, Madam President. Congratulations to the Passaic County Teacher of the Year, Clifton's own, of course. It's always a great pride in the city. As we continue with the hybrid remote learning, good luck to all on a great school year. To students, teachers, parents, administrators. You know, when I think of my daughter and son from school and was able to see them, you know, interact with their classmates and have that hybrid opportunity is from my parent perspective is great. Congratulations to the new VP of CCMS. Good luck to the football team tomorrow night. And Ms. Malama, thank you for always your continued work regarding that diversity group. Ms. Malama asked me to take a look at a Arab Muslim diversity list, and I recommended that a staff member may be more helpful because, to be transparent, as a board member, I'm not allowed to interfere with Clifton day-to-day work. And I made the superintendent aware. But Ms. Malama, what I would recommend to you as well is to keep an Arab Muslim list separate, because not all Arabs are Muslims and not all Muslims are Arabs. So that may be intermingled there. So that's the one recommendation I'm able to make to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdrabble. Ms. Beltram?
I just wanted to thank all the speakers that have come tonight. It's great to see so many new faces and hear new voices. I hope that we continue that trend. As we said, we can come in person, or you can also continue to call in. And hopefully we can keep this hybrid model even when we're done with the new normal and we're back to the regular normal. We all want to go back to normal on that note, as quick as possible. At least I do. I obviously don't speak for the whole board, but personally, I think we're all ready to get back to as close to normal as we can. And some of us may be over eager, and maybe the kids in the school are taking off their masks. They feel invisible. Most high school kids feel invisible. And hopefully, as time goes on, they'll learn that it's more, it's cool to wear a mask, especially with all the different designs that you have. I know I personally have probably like 50 different ones at this point. I was thrilled to see all the comments on Facebook showing how much happier people's children were coming home to school. We may not always be commenting on Facebook, but you know that we are seeing everything. At least I am. I think it's in our board's prerogative to give our students the best education possible, while also keeping everyone as safe as possible, which is a hard balance to maintain. And I'd also like to hope that everyone has an enjoyable Halloween as the new normal allows. We won't be seeing you until after Halloween, so I know some other towns are having events. I'm not sure if Clifton as a town are having any events. And there's CT guidelines on to how to hand out candy if you so wish to do so, individual bags, etc. But I hope that people figure out a way to keep this tradition alive with their kids, even if it's something within your own family that you do. And that's all I have this week.
Thank you, Ms. Beltram. Mr. Canova?
All right, thank you. I want to congratulate Ms. Graziano on an amazing accomplishment to be a top 5 winner in New Jersey. I mean, that is something truly amazing. It really goes to show how great our teachers are and really how great you are. So congratulations on that. Congratulations to our Mr. Casper here on his Unsung Heroes venture. Also, on reopening. So I heard the 2 parents and speak about their reactions to and their children's reactions to reopening. And I have to share a similar sentiment because my daughters did not want to go back, even though I registered them for in person. You know, they were dreading to go back because they liked the lifestyle of being home and relax on the computer. But when they got in, and after hearing about their day and picking them up, the smiles on their faces, and they were so excited, and they were just so happy to be back with everyone. They didn't see it as the new normal. They didn't see it as something weird. They knew they had to wear their masks because they've been going to cheer, so they know that that's just, what we do now. And they had a great time. So I'm glad to see that happen. I'm glad to see when they went to school, they had their temperature checks. Everyone was distanced. There was 6 feet markers all over the ground. They even showed us on an ad hoc back to school night meeting the markers in the school, and they have 2 different pathways down the hallway to keep everyone distanced. So I mean, really going to extraordinary events to make the kids safe and to make the place a really happy place to be in school. So I commend our administration. I commend everyone that's working towards it and has worked towards it. I'm hoping we continue those meeting around getting people back into school and getting things more like what they used to be. So I do support that. I know that we did have a policy for wearing masks. I remember going through that in policy, and there was a mandate on wearing masks. So that I believe that's in there already. So if someone's taking off their mask, I think we already have something outlining, what happens in those situations. So I would just instruct anyone to see someone not wearing a mask and to let the teacher know and to go through the route of where you need to take. Ms. Lalama, I couldn't agree more. I think everyone does need to work together because if we're not, we're just rolling around in circles. So I'm glad you're supporting endeavors where people do get to work together. So thank you for that. And that's all I had tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canova. Mr. Daly?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to add my congratulations to Ms. Graziano. That's a great accomplishment. And if I understand that it's the first time a Clifton teacher was ever in that position to be Passaic County Teacher of the Year, that's just terrific. And I know that happiness and pride is shared by everyone in the district. Also, congratulate Mr. Swisher on his appointment as vice principal, of Columbus. Mr. Casper, congratulations on your appointment as a Grand Poobah. So, also, I would like to ask our board secretary through you, Madam President, if they could share the 4 proposals from of the 2 attorney firms that presented to us tonight. I think it's good to see what's in their proposals as well. So they're prepared for when we ever get to vote on that. I would also like to wish everybody a happy Halloween, and also upcoming voting. It's going to be very different this year. Just no matter how you're going to do it, either mail in, drop it off, whatever you have to do, it's important that you participate in the vote. I have a lot of issues the way the governors handled this, both from the way the elections for and nominations for school boards. It was absolutely horrendous because every county had different website information on their website on how you want to register to be a candidate for a particular board of education. It was not uniform, and I think that the state really fell down, and would have liked to have seen our voters have the option to vote either in person or by ballot, because some people feel more comfortable doing it one way. And if you're going to vote, I think every citizen should feel comfortable in the way they cast their vote and come out to vote. And one last thing, I usually don't talk about family or personal, but I'd like to thank all the members of the community in Clifton, particularly on the well wishes and prayers for our grandson, Nicholas. He is now been declared cancer-free after 9 months, and he's a very energetic kid, and fortunately he didn't have a lot of side effects, but it was a long process, especially not only for his parents, but for his grandparents and all family members. But it turned out pretty much as the doctors predicted, but there will be scans going forward just to make sure the cancer doesn't reoccur. But right now he's officially been declared cancer-free. And again, I can't thank everybody in the community enough for their prayers and best wishes throughout the last 9 months. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Madam Vice Chair Basford?
Wow, that's great, Jim. We've been praying. I'm just so it's thank you. Thank you. What else can you say but thank you to the higher power, whatever higher power you believe in. To Megan Graziano, congratulations. I was online that day. I made sure I took personal time off that morning to actually watch the ceremony live. It was a thrill to hear Clifton being represented. We're very proud of you. Thank you for being the best of the best and showing what true excellence in teaching is. We applaud you for everything. We applaud your colleagues for recognizing you, and you make Clifton shine. That's what the best part of everything is. To Mr. Switcher, congratulations and good luck. Thank you for coming tonight and doing that as well. To the CEA Pride and Fast. Wow, you guys, you're doing pretty good there. And I know it's going to be dispersed in the community in the most appropriate way. Confident that it'll affect all the children. So thank you guys. You do really great work. I just, talking about voting, I was 14 years old when I cast my mother's ballot. There's a Jersey Journal picture. I made a front page. I have a big bonnet on. My brother found the picture when he was cleaning out some of my dad's stuff. So he sent it over to the house, and it was good to see that I take my civic duty very carefully. I take it very carefully. So I had a conversation yesterday with somebody about the bucket of water. And I just, I know I shared that story with you, Dr. Robertazzi, about the bucket of water. So we're in the auditorium, and we're in the gym, and the bucket of water spills. I can't say to the janitor to clean up the bucket of water. I got to get on my phone. He's not even there. I got to call Dr. Robertazzi. He's home doing his thing with his kids, and he's got to call the janitor and tell him to pick up the bucket of water. That's how it works. That's board membership 101. And I had a very kind conversation with a lot of people yesterday, my support group, and I thank them very much for reminding me of all the buckets of water that I've never picked up. I never ordered to be picked up, and I kept in line. So thank you guys for being on my team. The Clifton Teachers Association, Laura Lamana, I heard your words tonight, and I heard them well. And the one thing that's sticking with me is teamwork over personal ambition. That couldn't resonate anymore with everybody on this board. Teamwork over personal ambition. Thank you so much for being the leader of the group. You're doing a great job. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything you do. You come to every meeting. You show up. You give it. You tell us what's going on, good, bad, or ugly. And I know this board member appreciates it. Halloween coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever it is, and whatever you're going to do at Halloween, please, please, please be careful and safe. The other thing is with the return to school, I'm glad to see so many people are happy. There's so many different opinions on this. It's not easy, but everybody out there, please be safe. I'm not too keen on the numbers. Personally affected my family this week. It came very close to home. And we are dealing with a very extensive loss in my family. So to everybody out there, just please wear your mask. It's really important. You may be immune. You may have the antibodies, but you may be a carrier. So they don't really know what's going on. So just be careful. And everybody have a good week until next meeting. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Vice Chair Bassford. So first, I would like to say thank you to all the speakers. It's great to hear that, some parents are very excited and their children going back and the smiling faces. That's always nice. I want to really tell our educators, our staff, administration, everyone that's in the building now in person, thank you for all that you're doing. I really have to, give a special thanks to the teachers who are working directly with students, as I know that if you're working in the setting and you're trying to make the virtual and you're trying to make the in-person and everything work, I know that that's very difficult. And even if you've been in education for this long, there's so much planning that takes place. So I want to tell you, thank you very much. And congratulations to Ms. Graziano. Thank you very much for making Clifton shine. You are, and again, to be one of 5 is definitely, in our profession, we always seem to be put down a lot of times. So it's just great to hear somebody's accomplishments in one of 5, in Clifton especially. Thank you. And congratulations to the new VP. Mr. Swisher, and Nicholas, I saw that you kicked cancer's butt. I had lost a cousin's, my cousin lost 12 years old. She had lost a battle to brain cancer. So it was very difficult. So I'm glad you kicked cancer's butt. And finally, just have a safe and happy Halloween. And that concludes my comments. Dr. Robertozzi.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening once again, commissioners and members of the community who are joining us at our meeting. So we reopened schools this week for in-person learning. And I have to tell you that I couldn't be more pleased with the way this week has gone. Our staff has been absolutely incredible. I mean, above and beyond. Our students showed up, did absolutely, the right thing, followed the protocols. Yeah, a few bumps in the road. We knew that was going to happen. But on Monday, I was able to visit 5 schools. On Tuesday, I was able to visit 4 more schools. This morning, I was only able to visit Clifton High School for about 45 minutes. Tomorrow, I'll visit a couple more schools, and by the middle of next week, I will have visited every school. So if I haven't gotten to you yet, I'll be there, I promise. And just what I saw, it just reminded me that all the hard work and all the stress and all the questions in my mind about whether or not we should reopen, I knew it was absolutely the right decision. Absolutely the right decision. I just want to caution everybody about wanting to pull this Band-Aid off even more quickly and getting back to, what we were doing a year ago, a full schedule from, 8 to 3 with kids, 500 kids eating in a cafeteria. We want to be very, very careful about how we do this. This needs to be done in phases. This is phase 2, right? When we get to phase 3 will depend on a lot of things, but I'm really happy about how this week has gone so far, and cannot express my gratitude and appreciation anymore to our faculty and staff and our administrators for the job they have done in welcoming back our students. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Congratulations to Megan. I'll say it again, you've just made us all so proud. We are so lucky to have you in Clifton, and we're so very, very, very proud of you. And listen, the state of New Jersey, the DOE, they make mistakes all the time. I mean, you should have won the whole thing, but I'm sure the person who won is a very good teacher, but you're number one in our hearts, Megan. So congratulations on a great honor. Just want to address a couple issues that came up tonight through public comment and through conversation with our board. In regards to ventilation in schools, let's talk about ventilation and getting an industrial hygienist to come into our schools. Ventilation is important. I agree, ventilation is important. What is more important right now in our schools is wearing masks and social distancing and opening windows. We could bring in an industrial hygienist. We could hire our architect to come in and look at all of our univentilators, and they're going to tell us things like, yes, you have ventilation systems that are 60 years old. They need to be replaced. I'm not opposed to doing that, but I'm not sure we're going to learn anything in addition to what we already know. I'll remind everybody, we were planning on a $160 million referendum to be voted on, would have been a couple weeks ago, to replace all of the HVAC systems in our school. So this is not an issue that's new. This is something that is on our radar. It is something that we are going to do something about. In fact, tonight, this board is going to discuss some things in executive session regarding that referendum and certain contracts that go along with that. So I'm not trying to minimize the staff's concern about ventilation. I'm aware that it's a concern. If anything, we're going to bring in our architect to inspect all of our systems and make recommendations. For now, I'm encouraging all of our teachers to open up their classroom windows. If students need to wear a jacket, absolutely welcome to. They want to bring in a blanket, let students bring in a blanket, let them wear hats. Keep those windows open, wear masks, stay 6 feet apart, and you will be safe. As far as staff members quarantining, the rule is very simple. And if somebody who reports to me is not following this rule accurately, then I need to know about it. The rule is if you go to a state voluntarily that is on the quarantine list, when you come back to work, you have to use your sick days. If you're going to, I don't know, Florida for vacation the first week in November, and you're going to Disney World, when you come back, we're not going to be upset with you. We're going to make you quarantine though, and we're going to make you use sick days. If, however, you are mandated to go somewhere, or you have some other very good reason to have to attend an out-of-state event, then we are going to work with you on a case-by-case basis to make sure that you do not have to use your sick days. There are things that you can qualify under the law to get leave time, paid leave time for such activity. So if you're not sure, if there's a staff member out there who has been given different guidance, this came out from our human resources director. And if somewhere in our district that's not being followed, then I need to know about it. Simple email to me, we'll get the issue fixed. Because I believe we are a compassionate administration. I believe we are a compassionate school district. And I believe that we care about our staff. At least that's what I want to happen in this school district. And if it's not, I want to know about it. Let me address the issue that came up that Max Rubin brought up, our amazing student who I love, Max. When Max was talking about students with masks, I didn't hear, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, please do, Max. I didn't hear him saying that he saw a lot of kids not wearing masks. I thought I heard him say that he heard that this was happening. I will tell you this. I spent about 45 minutes today walking around the building with Mr. Doctor. Now, you might say maybe it's because I'm walking down the high school with the principal and everybody's wearing their masks, but I did not see one student not wearing a mask. I saw, that's not true. I saw one student with a mask that was just covering their mouth and not their nose. Mr. Doctor simply said, please fix your mask. The student complied. It wasn't an issue. Let me be clear. If students or staff do not comply with our mask requirements during the school day when our kids are in session, there will be consequences. It's a health and safety issue that is extremely important, and there absolutely will be consequences. Finally, we've made it through the first few days of school without a positive student test or a teacher test. However, as I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, it's inevitable that that's going to happen at some point in time. And just tonight, we learned of a teacher, a staff member who tested positive in the district. I'm not going to get into any details. The schools that need to be notified will be notified. The parents that need to be notified will be notified. And here's what we do. When we learn about a case, whether it's a student or a staff member, we collaborate with the health department. The health department gives us guidance and recommendations, or sometimes gives us directions on what to do. Depending on the circumstance, it may mean that nothing has to happen. It may mean that one classroom may need to quarantine. In a worst case scenario, it may mean that a school would need to quarantine for 14 days and close for 14 days. But under no circumstances should there be any panic. We don't want people to panic. We want people to trust the process, know that the right people are being notified, and that we're looking out for the health and safety of those individuals. So it's going to happen. We knew it was going to happen. It happened today. It's going to happen again next week, most likely. So please respect the process. Please understand that we'll be very transparent and open about this, and notify the people who need to be notified about these issues. And Mr. Daly, that's great news that you share with us tonight. And I'm happy for you and your family and your grandson. Thank God for that. That concludes my comments, Madam President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Albertosi. The next order of business is new business. And Dr. Albertosi, I actually have, I would like you to present to the board about the new business with Ms. Hellowa. I know you just put your mask
Sure,
on.
thank you, Ms. Danny. As requested by our board president, I did contact Kathy Hellowa today, who was our New Jersey School Boards Association representative for our region, to set up a board retreat for ethics training. Right now, that has been set up for December 3rd at 5:30 p.m. We have a regularly scheduled meeting already on that date. So we'll have the training at 5:30 and our regular meeting will begin at 7 p.m.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would like to bring this up for discussion with the board. If we're having a training on December 3rd, we will be having a new swearing in the next month. I don't know what the legal ramifications are, but could the new prospective board member attend that training as well?
They can take my spot.
So the ethics, if I
Well,
may, the ethics training is going to be in public.
Look, yeah.
So I'm going to make a motion that we have the, can I make a motion?
Let
Sorry.
me answer your question. Because
well,
I'm sorry. What I was trying to say is that the ethics training is going to be in public. So if whoever gets elected comes to the public meeting, they'll hear it. However,
Ms. Gutierrez, I can't hear you because of the mask. I'm sorry.
the public meeting, the ethics training is going to be happening in public.
Yes.
So whoever gets elected in November will be able to attend the meeting in public and hear the training. I was just trying to address Ms. Bassford's original question. What I would suggest, however, is that once that person is seated, you can always have another ethics training later on. It's not very lengthy. It's about an hour's worth of training.
And that's what we
And that way
figured
the
probably
person-
would be February or March, maybe whatever works with school boards, there'll be another ethics training.
Fine with me.
The individual will be able to ask questions.
Well, maybe an open invitation to the people that get elected, and then this way they can come and participate in the audience. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Pacenti?
Yeah, I just have one quick question through you to Dr. Robertosi.
Yes.
Max Rubin said that they were taking not only they were taking SAT books for the students. I also have a bunch of nursing books that I would like to donate. Will Clifton High School be accepting them also? Because I have a ton of study, I guess, books and pamphlets and everything that I would like to donate to the students.
Yeah, Mr. Pacenti, we'd be happy to accept that as a donation, 100%.
If you could just tell me when they're accepting them, I'll be more than happy to bring them over.
Yep, I'll get you that information.
Mr. Smith, you had a question?
Yeah, I'm just going back to this ethics training. You know, Ms. Bassford brings up a very good point. You know, 1 month later, why don't we just hold it off for one more month, and then the new board member would be on, and Gary doesn't have to, not that Gary's going to come sit through it anyway, but
Well, Mr. Smith, I know, but it was Miss Bassford that requested it. So I'm just filling up the request. And then that's why I originally wanted to hold it till the new board member came on, but we could have two. Fine.
yeah, I'm just, okay.
So we'll all get it twice. It'll be good. We'll be very ethic minded. Any other question? Ms. Gutierrez, is that a hand up or? Oh, sorry. Oh,
Sorry, I was
okay.
just leaning.
Okay. Any other questions? New business? Yes, Dr. Robertosi.
I have a new business item for discussion on the board, Ms. Danny. I did give the board a heads up about a week ago. I emailed them that we have a School 16 requesting permission to hold a trunk or treat, and they've submitted a plan. I do have to say that, you know, on the record, our initial response to these requests to all the HSAs was that no, we weren't going to do that this year. The elementary principals stand by that. I support the elementary principals in their wanting to deny that request for safety reasons. According to the CDC, it's considered one of those higher risk activities. Although I do commend the School 16 HSA for putting together what I believe is a very good plan that I shared with you. It would still be, for me, I don't know that it's the best idea to have these types of events at this time. Having said that, I don't believe it's my call. It's the School 16 HSA has requested use of facilities permission from the Board of Education. If the majority of this board wants to grant that request, I certainly wouldn't block it. So I'd like to hear some discussion on that and hear your thoughts, please.
I have a question. As
Yes.
of right now, our School 16, they're doing AB also, right? And there's half of the school participating in person.
Mr. Pacenti, they're actually doing, at the elementary level, they're actually doing 4 days. 4 days a week with just Wednesday virtual.
Okay, and how many are in that school? Is it half still, or
about?
So if they go into this trunk or treat, as we're saying, it's possibly the whole school could participate. This is my problem here.
So that's a good question. My short answer would be, I would say yes, because the high school level, if you are a virtual student, you're allowed to participate in athletics. So I would imagine that same rule would apply to any virtual student to be allowed to participate in any type of extracurricular activity. So I think potentially, yes, you could have the whole school there.
How many are in that whole school?
Off the top of my head, I want to say about 350. Janina, do you have a better number for me? School 16 numbers?
So we're under that. So with all the parents and all the helpers, we're still under. We still have a problem of 500 gathering, which is another issue I have with this.
Whether correct or not, School 16 is only 217, 194. Yeah. No. Either last year's numbers were 217. This year you have 194. So somewhere in the middle.
There's something wrong with those numbers.
So anyway, that's the numbers that are. But I mean, even February of last year was 217. So
I understand Mr. Pacenti's point is that 500 number. In their plan, to their credit, the HSA there is going to do 2 sessions, one from K to 2 and one from 3 to 5 to minimize crowd. So that would help. Okay, so let me just read what the plan says. The events will take place in 2 sessions, one K to 2, one 3 to 5 to minimize crowds. If there are a large number of participants, they will also be provided with a specific time slot to trunk or treat. All participants will be required to wear masks and will not be admitted without one. Anyone attending the event must be pre-registered. No walk-up guests will be permitted. The event will be limited to School 16 students and their immediate family, which is their household members only. The HSA will provide all candy that is to be distributed and create goodie bag types of treats. Goodie bags will be assembled by HSA members while wearing gloves. Only adults will be permitted to distribute candy to trick-or-treaters, and only candy provided by the HSA will be used. Adults will be reminded that at no time should they give out any candy other than what was provided. Adults distributing candy will be provided with gloves that must be worn. Therefore, at no time will bare hands have touched any candy, and at no time will children be allowed to put hands in candy bowls.
I have a question.
Miss Basford?
So rough. Yes. Are the candies they're going to be giving out, is it sealed packages? How is that going to work?
The verbiage used is a goodie bag.
Okay.
So, yes, I believe that would mean sealed.
Mr. Pacenti?
Yeah, just one more thing. And Dr. Albertosi, you said the teachers were and the administration, principals, I should say, are against this, correct?
Yeah, the elementary principals, I believe as a whole, are not for having.
Mr. Smith, is your hand up or is, okay, and Mr. Abudrabo after.
Yeah, Dr. Robertosi, I would surely support what you think is best. However, in saying that, somebody, one of the speakers in the beginning of the session tonight spoke about how our governor now is opening up indoor sports. So I don't see how you have an outdoor event that you're not going to allow, but you're going to allow an indoor event with potentially more issues. Not that I'm against the sports at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to make the correlation. But, you know, I would support what you feel would be best for the district as a whole. Are there, that's, I think Mr. Pacenti just asked that, are there any other applications for other tricky trays?
Yeah, so that's one of the concerns for this discussion tonight, Mr. Smith, because pretty much the elementary principals are, and it came from me, that we weren't going to do this. And so I believe the HSAs did not submit requests due to that rule that we were enforcing. However, because School 16, whether or not they got the message, I'm not sure, sent a specific request to the board and to myself. I wanted it to be at least discussed and considered. And if the board does approve this tonight, I believe we should allow any other HSAs that want to do it a little leeway in getting us a permit request, you know, within the next week. So I anticipate if we do approve this tonight, you will have other schools who will, you know, want to hold a trunk or treat. And I think your point is well made about the governor's executive order on Monday. To me, was a big surprise that we're allowing now indoor sports. We're allowing wrestling. We're allowing basketball indoors. And I think it's more of a political pressure thing. And I think we have to be careful of succumbing to political pressure. I think we need to do what we think is right, but we're also setting a precedent. Right? What we approve now, we'll have to approve again in the future. And the more we open up those doors to what events we're going to approve, the more difficult it could get. So I want our kids to have trunk or treats. I want our kids to have a normal Halloween. I am concerned about it though, to be very honest with you. But next month, if we're having a basketball game indoors, I don't know how we justify not allowing a trunk or treat. It's and so I get it. It's.
Do you want, Dr. Albertosi, do you want the board members to, you know, do you want to poll the board members?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
not
Mr.
to further the discussion, if the majority of this board is for approving this, let's just do it and be done with it.
Okay.
And the elementary principals will probably be upset with me, but
Okay.
that's the nature of my job.
Mr. Abudrabo, then Mr. Canova.
Thank you, Ms. Danny. Superintendent Robertosi, is it inside or outside? Did they define it?
Outside.
It's going to be outside. If we're going back, I mean, I've seen inside and outside, but if we're going to go back to normal, or whatever normal may be today, and open up schools, then listen, I'm a school 16 parent, so I went to the fundraiser, and again, I'm not on the HSA, and I got to talk to our attorney if I even can vote on this or not. But you know, I went to the fundraiser. They had an outstanding, you know, showing, and I don't know because I haven't heard of any cases or anything within, you know, the school 16 community. So obviously they were able to contain it in any way. They put up a plan together, but that's my 2 cents. So I don't know how far I can go into this to discuss it, but I don't know. I think it's a fine idea.
You're a member of the
No, I'm not a member of the I'm a parent of School 16. Yeah. No.
Madam President, can we
Yeah.
recognize Mrs. Kusalevich? She wanted to speak earlier.
Okay, but, Mr. Canova, just,
Wow, that's a great school.
Lots of
That's a
kids.
nice school.
You guys are sending children catcher.
So anyway, the bottom line is
Bang on
that
sports.
that in
I don't
two
think-
shifts,
Bang, bang
you
in
wouldn't
the
go
car.
over the 500 number, which is why we're looking at the number.
Dr.
I'm the
Albertozzi, I
children
mean,
catcher.
Dr. Albertozzi,
I volunteer.
it's really your call. I don't believe that we need a motion on the floor. I think you could just take a straw poll. Dr. Albertozzi, are you listening? Can you hear me?
I think Joe has a question.
Joe wants to talk.
So
Yes,
the only
I
other
know.
thing I want to, but
Yes,
before
I
we
know.
call the question, the only other thing I want to add here is, so I do agree. I think that they should be able to have a trunk or treat, and I'm someone that does want to get things back to normal. The only thing to consider here, well, first of all, they're outside of our district. HSA is just like Boys and Girls Club. They're not. It's not essentially that anything that happens that we would technically be responsible for. Is that correct?
If it's happening on your property and you're authorizing it, yeah.
So anybody that rents any facilities from us, we're always responsible in the end.
There's some responsibility.
Mm.
That's why you have insurance. That's why you get, somebody that rents your facilities has to get insurance that names the board as an insured to be able to avoid, to protect the board from liability. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like athletics.
So
The same would apply to the sports.
Darylise, we
yeah,
can't hear.
yeah.
Sorry, when you speak out that way.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
trying to speak to Mr. Canova.
I know.
So the way I look at it is we already have people that attend our games, our football games, et cetera, which we're keeping 500 and under. So if we're only talking about 200, I don't know what the number is going to be, but if they're divvying it up half and half, I don't see the problem with it. The only problem I do see, and it's something we're going to have to deal with, like you said, when other schools submit, is that this is late notice for any other school that would want to do it, one. And two, it's not so much for your 16, your 2, your CCMS, Woodrow Wilson. It's for your 12, 17, 4 or 5. How are they going to do this and be socially distant in their small facility where they can host something outside? So that's the other caveat here is some schools have space where others don't. And you can't tell one yes and the other no. So whatever happens here has to be uniform.
Which is
Either
why
they're going to use another school's area or something. I don't know what we're going to decide
which is
here.
why,
But
Mr. Canova, at this point in time, and I love the School 16 HSA. I love all they do for the children. I just don't think, I think I need to take my elementary principal's recommendations that for this year, we do not approve it. Maybe there's something that they can do the winter break. I mean, obviously it's not going to be a trunk or treat, but maybe by winter time, there's something else we could do in the spring. Maybe we could start opening up a little more. But it just, if all of my principals are telling me that it's not a good idea, I got to go with what they're telling me. So if you'd ask my recommendation is we say no, but I'm just not sure. I don't know that I believe it's a board decision.
Mr. Abadraba.
Through you, Madam President, to the superintendent or the business administrator, were there any issues with their fundraiser last month that they held?
None that came to my attention.
So there, and again, I'm just asking just to inquire because I never really, delved into
I
what was the
believe
outcome.
These are very responsible parents. I believe that they put together a really good plan. I just think that approving this causes more issues than it solves. And I think that at this time, I really think that we should look at what the CDC guidelines say, that this is a medium to higher risk activity. Even though our governor says we could have indoor sports, I know we're talking out of both sides of our mouth here. I get it, and I get the hypocrisy of it all. But I just, I gotta go with what my principals are telling me.
Mr. Daly?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Joe. Here's the issue. I would love for our students and HSAs to carry out these activities. But what's good for one is also opens the door for others. And even though they were out there in front, school 16, and they may have a very good plan, you're going to have everybody else say, well, you let them have it, why can't we have it? And there's other factors, as Joe said. The schools are all different in terms of the area which they could do this in. So I think it presents more problems. I do have a question on the liability. I think our council touched on it. So being we have a very I feel very unfortunate not to weigh in and say yes. I'd love to say yes, but it gets very complicated in a hurry here. So I'm leaning towards I don't think it's a good idea.
I would like to take the poll if we could.
Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Danny. This is not something that's on that's a resolution, right, Dr. Robertosi?
It is not on the agenda.
No, but it also seems to me that this is something that you can make a decision. You can make the decision whether or not to approve this trunk or treat without the board approving it.
If the decision is solely mine, the answer, I'm very sorry to the school 16 HSA. I love you guys. Please don't be upset with me. I'll make it up to you at some point in our lifetime. But if the decision is solely mine, the answer is no. I was under the impression that the board grants the use of facilities, not the superintendent. But if you're telling me it's my decision is no.
So let me ask the question this way. Do you always bring HSA activities to use outside to the board?
Yeah.
Oh, well, in that case, then you do put it to the board for the question.
Okay.
Yeah, it's use of
So
facilities.
if
So
there's
it's
no further discussion.
All right, so I'll make the motion.
So do we normally, we don't make motions in new business, correct? I mean, was that?
Well, it was given to us 48 hours prior, so we can. It was emailed to us a week ago.
Okay.
And there are emergency exceptions too.
And this is emergency action, right, that needs to be done by October 30th. So I'll make the motion to take the recommendation of the superintendent.
Motion by Mr. Pacini.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Casper. And I guess you're making the motion to vote on allowing the.
I'm making a motion to go with the recommendation of the superintendent to suspend all trunk or treats for the 2020 year.
Thank you, Mr. Pacini. Okay, roll call.
Now, question?
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's nothing scheduled or requested in the middle schools or the high school for not trunk or treat, but anything like that either, right?
Well, I'm just going with trunk or treat. That's all my motion is, and that's what was brought to the board at this point, Mr. Smith.
That's all. I'm just asking if Dr. Robertosi, are there other?
None that I'm aware of, Mr. Smith. No Halloween type activities.
That's fine.
Okay, no other questions? Okay, roll call.
Okay, so the motions to take Dr. Robertosi's recommendation of not allowing trunk or treats. Mr. Abidraba.
For the sake of the whole district, yes.
Ms. Bassford.
I'm going to support the superintendent's recommendation. These things, we have a process. We have a bylaw and we have a policy that supports the facility usage form. We just went through this last meeting, but we also have to support the superintendent's recommendations because these things have to be more thought out and we can't make the decision on the fly. So I support the yes to the superintendent.
Ms. Beltran.
I would love to see this event happen. I think everyone knows that I love events, but I understand that it can't happen right now. But I hope that somehow we can figure out either allowing the students who are in class or even the ones at home on hybrid to encourage them to dress up or something to bring a little bit of Halloween spirit to it if they choose to.
Mr. Canova,
Yes.
Mr. Daly,
Yes.
Mr. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Miss Danny.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Is there any other new business?
Seeing none, motion to go into exec.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
I'd like to make a motion to go in executive to discuss contract matters. Motion by Mr. Pacenti, second by Mr. Casper. Roll call.
Mr. Abudrabo,
Yes.
Madam Chair, hold on. I had made a request for something to be discussed in executive session. Is that also on the agenda?
Yes, Ms. Gutierrez, can you add to what will be in executive session, contract matters and we can't hear you. I'm sorry.
It's related to attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Could you hear me now?
Attorney-client privilege.
Mr. Abudrabo,
Yes.
Ms. Bassford,
Yes.
Ms. Beltran,
Yes.
Mr. Canova,
Yes.
Mr. Daly,
Yes.
Mr. Casper,
Yes.
Mr. Pacenti,
Yes.
Mr. Smith, and Miss Danny.
Yes, and Ms. Gutierrez, no action will be taken. We will adjourn from executive session, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. We take a breather. and
Mr.
go
Mountain,
get some.
we're gonna need to go to a breakout room, please.
Yes, we're just going to stop the live stream and the recording because you're closing from executive session.
All right.